Give us some insight into Jordan, where he is. I just assume it's over, that he's not going to want to subject himself to another concussion. Certainly the people around him aren't. Have you seen him in the last few weeks? Has he been around the building? Does he look okay? Have you texted with him? If you had a guess, what is your guess for his future?
Obviously I've talked to him, man. We're close. We're close friends, and we have children around the same age as well. So, but for him, man, just talking to him, man, it's important that he self-evaluates himself. And I told him, man, like, you got daughters that, you don't want nobody else holding your daughters because you're not here and things like that. And so he has some decisions to make. His family has to make. And, obviously he misses football. He loves football. And, you just don't wake up and say, man, I don't love football no more, man. You miss the hell out of it because this is something you've done all your life. So, he's doing well, though. He's doing well.
Does he still have symptoms right now?
I really haven't talked to him about that.
Right.
It's just more just checking up on him, man. Hey, man, I haven't seen you around. Just checking on you, see how you doing, man. Just being a great teammate and a great friend.
Right.
Joined by Morgan Moses, Redskins right tackle, presented by Steamfitters UA Local 602. They built this city. So looking back on it, you liked Jay Gruden. You liked your time with Jay Gruden. Callahan took over and talked about maybe changing the culture. Have you actually seen that from practice? He talked about finishing games. Has the character of the team changed under Bill Callahan?
I think definitely, man. You look at some of these games where we're down 14 points and we come back and score. Early in the season, man, you look at it and say, hey, man, I don't really know if we would have came back from a 14-point deficit, but I think the key, one of the things that you see is that, every game we're in, it's not like we're getting blown out. We're battling our tails off. You can see the talent on the team throughout the defense, special teams. And so you look at it and say, man, yeah, it's a down year, but you got pieces. You have pieces, and that's the most important part. I mean, you have to bring in some other pieces, but it's not like one of those teams where, like, oh, man, we don't have a future quarterback. We don't have a running back. We don't have, you have pieces.
Would you, if they asked you, I would assume you would lobby for Callahan to come back next year because he was your position guy and you have a close relationship with him. Is that a fair assumption?
Oh, definitely. But you know how this thing goes, man. You never know how it's going to go. I've been here 6 years, and, obviously, people feel like things need to change, and, obviously that's above my pay grade as well. But, whoever gets the head coaching job, whoever is here next year, there's some talent in this room on both sides, and, on all three phases, special teams, defense, and offense.
Let me hone in on Haskins. I don't know if this is fair to say, and you can tell me if it's unfair. At the beginning of the year when we interviewed you, I got a sense you didn't think that he was ready at the time, and you were comfortable with Case Keenum, a veteran, starting at quarterback. You weren't sure if he was up to task. But now, obviously, we've seen in the last couple of weeks he's been playing good football. Now he's not going to play this week. What did you see change in him, if anything? What have you come to learn about Dwayne Haskins?
Well, last time I said he was young and he wasn't ready, man. People, and I was on the show with you guys, man. People cussing me out, man. I got threats and stuff. And
no, you didn't.
Oh, man. But I think you finally see he's not a finished product by any means. But I think you see a guy that is playing football without thinking, and that's the key at quarterback. Is just not just sitting back there just thinking all the time about what you got to do to read or to bring the blitz over here, and just being comfortable back there. And I think Kevin O'Connell, who's been calling the plays these last couple of weeks, has done a great job of helping Dwayne look at things from a bigger perspective and get the ball out of his hands. And obviously running the ball successfully helps out a lot when you want to throw the ball down the field to, your young receiving core. But I think the difference is the attention to details. Is just, I said this on the show. I said, hey, the guy hasn't got practice reps with the ones. So when a guy goes out there as a backup quarterback and doesn't look that great, it's because some guys are good at looking at it on the iPad and looking at it, and some guys just need to get that physical on the field practice. So, when you seen him taking those actual practice reps, so he was named the starting quarterback, and you seen him get those practice reps on the field, you seen the outcome look a little bit different when playing on Sunday. His decision making is a lot faster. He's getting the ball out of his hands. He feels more comfortable in the pocket, and things like that. And I think you've seen the progression of that throughout the weeks.
Morgan Moses was outspoken in our very first interview about Adrian Peterson being inactive.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think back on that. It's actually amazing because we've seen a lot of life in his legs here towards the latter part of the season. He's closing in on 1,000 yards. I don't know if he'll get there. It'll probably be tough. But can you believe he was inactive that week one?
I mean, I voiced my opinion about it, obviously, and it was, and him being the veteran guy he is, I had to go to him and say, hey, is it okay if I voice my opinion because this is not right? And, me doing so, I'm not going to say made him active the next week. Guys actually got hurt. But it should have never – I felt like it should have never came down to that. You got a walking Hall of Fame. Not too many guys can say, hey, man, like, you got to feel like say that are walking Hall of Fame. But I think looking at his work ethic, man, it's amazing, man. His demeanor to this team and what he brings to this team is just it's unbelievable, man. And you want a guy like that around you 24/7, and that guy's gonna give it his all, man. So it's been a blessing to be able to see play with him the last couple of years as he breaks his records and then heads his way to the Hall of Fame.
Hey, so Morgan, I just kind of want to bust your balls here for a second. I looked at the penalty leaders on the offensive line for the year. Laramie Tunsil's got 15. You had 9. Okay, 4 false starts, 5 holds, or maybe I'm mixing it up. Maybe 5 false starts, 4 holds. How many were legit?
It's funny because a couple of weeks ago, man, a fan reached out to me on Instagram, and he's like, man, you got to stop holding. And I was like, dude, look, man. I sent him the video, and he was like, I sent him the video off my iPad the next day of the actual holding play and the false start. He's like, oh, man, that's BS, man. You didn't even move, man. I was like, look, man, it is what it is, man. I'm just trying to – he was like, man, thanks for clarifying things and things like that. But, it is what it is, man. Obviously, without getting in trouble and trying to say this, obviously there's something that the NFL has to do to clean up the the calls and things like that, and like they told me, man, it's hard when you looking at 100 things and you got to make a split decision on a flag or on a false start. You're looking at the offense line, but you're looking at the quarterback and things like that, and so it's just something you just got to deal with, man. I think everybody in the NFL has been dealing with it, and I think earlier in the season I saw Tom Brady tweet out about the refereeing on I think it was a primetime game, maybe a Thursday or Monday night game. So anytime you got somebody like him speaking up about the calls and things like that, obviously there's something that has to be corrected. But obviously you got to play the game for what the game is and try to correct it out there.